Chosen one, congratulations, it is over. But before you celebrate too quickly, there is something you need to understand. The circumstance may be finished while a part of you is still living, as though it could return at any moment. That is why calm has felt suspicious. That is why a new opportunity can appear, and your first instinct is to search for the hidden cost. Nothing is attacking you, yet your mind keeps preparing a defense. No one is leaving, yet your heart studies every silence. A door opens, yet your body tightens before you step through it. This does not mean you failed to heal. It does not mean your faith is weak. It does not mean the old season is coming back. It means you became so skilled at surviving what happened that survival continued after the danger was gone. You notice it in small moments. You read a message 3 times. You hear a change in someone's voice and prepare for rejection. You receive good news, but you do not share it because you fear it may disappear. A quiet day arrives, yet rest still feels unsafe. When nothing is wrong, part of you starts looking for what might be wrong. That pattern has a name. It is the after-war alarm. The alarm was once protection. Now it has become prediction. It helped you read the room and prepare for danger. But an alarm can keep ringing after the fire is gone, and a mind can keep guarding a door that no longer leads back to the same place. Chosen one, this is the first truth you need today. Fear is not always prophecy. Tension is not always intuition. Suspicion is not always wisdom. Sometimes your body remembers what your life is no longer repeating. Sometimes the feeling is real, but the meaning you attach to it belongs to an older chapter. Ask yourself one question when the alarm rises. What is happening now, and what am I remembering? Do not force the answer or shame the reaction. Let the question create a small space between the signal and the story. In that space, you begin to recover choice. You are not being asked to become careless. Accuracy sees what is here. Fear adds what was there. Accuracy protects you without imprisoning you. Fear makes every open door resemble the one that once closed in your face. Before this message ends, you will see 4 ways the past has been impersonating your intuition. You will understand why insight can be present while movement remains absent. You will see what must change so you never enter that pattern as the same person again. The battle ending was only the first freedom. The deeper freedom begins when every part of you receives the news. If this speaks to something you could not name, write, "I receive the news." Let those words mark a decision, not a promise that life will never challenge you. A decision that the old pattern will no longer explain every new moment for you. There is still one question open. Why does your system resist the sentence, "It is over," even when your spirit wants to believe it? The answer begins with what your body learned when safety was uncertain. Once you see that, you will stop confusing an alarm with a new command. The sentence, "It is over," can feel harder to receive than any warning. That is because part of you has heard safety promised before. Maybe someone promised peace, then returned with the same behavior. Maybe calm arrived, then collapsed again. Your system learned that relief could not be trusted, so the alarm stayed awake. It watched faces, pauses, messages, and moods. You may wake before your body has rested. You may prepare explanations before anyone asks a question. You may protect a victory before enjoying it. It is the after-war alarm, doing the job it once believed was necessary. The common explanation is that you are negative. That explanation is too shallow. You may also call it intuition. Sometimes intuition does warn you, but intuition is usually clear and specific. An old alarm is repetitive, urgent, and vague. It says something is wrong, but it cannot show you what is happening now. Here is the hidden mechanism. Your mind predicts tomorrow with patterns collected yesterday. When uncertainty repeats for long enough, vigilance begins to feel normal. The body prepares before proof arrives. It can appear as tight shoulders, restless sleep, overthinking, or control. This changes how you understand your past. You were not weak. You were intelligent under pressure. You learned to notice what others missed. You stayed ready because readiness reduced surprise. That ability may have protected you then. It does not have to lead you now. The alarm was protection. It is not your identity. Discernment can remain while suspicion softens. Wisdom can remain while your body learns that peace is not a trick. There is a sacred image of people leaving captivity while it still shaped their expectations. Their location changed before their inner map changed. They were free, but scarcity still spoke. They crossed the boundary, but fear still described the future with the past. Freedom outside came first. Freedom inside required a new way of seeing. The ancient idea of shalom points toward wholeness, not only quiet. Peace is more than a quiet room. It is a life in which your inner parts no longer fight the present. Your mind sees what is here. Your body stops rehearsing what is gone. Your choices begin to agree with what you believe. Try this when the alarm rises. Ask, what is objectively happening? Then ask, what outcome am I predicting? Finally ask, which past event taught me to predict it? These questions separate evidence from memory. Bring your attention to your jaw. Notice whether it is tight. Notice your shoulders. Notice your chest. Do not force change. Simply recognize what your body is trying to protect. Then say, thank you for protecting me, but I will check the present before I obey the past. Agency returns through accurate moments repeated. You notice the alarm, you name the prediction, you examine the evidence, then you choose from the present. If you are ready to practice that kind of peace, right, safe, let it mean you can stay aware without staying trapped. Let it mean that peace does not make you careless. It creates clarity. But recognizing the alarm is only the first step. The next trap is quieter. It can make fear look like wisdom and control look like discernment. It keeps asking the future to prove that it will never hurt you before you allow yourself to move. The next trap is the proof trap. It appears when nothing feels safe without proof. You wait for the perfect sign and one more confirmation. You study every possible outcome, then move the standard again when the answer finally arrives. At first, this looks wise and even spiritual. You tell yourself that you are being careful, but careful observation and endless testing are not the same. Discernment watches reality. Fear demands guarantees that reality cannot give. You see it in relationships, work, and calling. You know the next step, yet certainty still feels safer than movement. You may call this high standards, but the hidden mechanism is often control. Control tries to remove vulnerability. It wants proof in advance. It wants love without risk and growth without exposure. The proof trap is exhausting. No evidence satisfies a system committed to finding danger. A person shows consistency, but you need more time. You gain the missing information, but a new question appears. Your caution has a history. Maybe you trusted unsupported words, celebrated early, or watched hope disappear without warning. The need for proof came from pain that wanted a guarantee. Here is the reframe. Discernment does not require certainty. It requires enough truth for the next responsible step. Fear asks whether anything could go wrong. Wisdom asks whether the present evidence supports one small move. So choose one action with low risk and clear value. Reply to the message. Schedule the meeting. Send the application. State the boundary. Ask whether this next step is honest, measured, and aligned with what you know today. Imagine life without forcing every beginning to prove its ending. You can observe without testing. You can prepare without endless delay. You can move carefully without obeying fear. Now I want to place one question in front of you. Researchers have studied why clear insight can still fail to create movement. Some of that work connects to Nobel Prize research about how parts of the mind work together. I will return to that discovery later. I am not naming anything yet. I am asking you to hold a question. What if the problem is not that you failed to receive the message, but that the receiver itself has been operating in fragments? Notice what happens when you face a decision. Does your mind gather useful evidence, or does it keep collecting reasons to wait? Does your body become clearer, or more afraid? The answer shows whether you practice discernment or feed the proof trap. Choose one decision you have delayed. Write down the one fact that is truly missing. Find it if it is available. If nothing is missing, take the smallest responsible action. This teaches your system that movement is not danger. Sometimes waiting is wisdom. Sometimes waiting is fear, asking for one more piece of evidence it will never accept. The difference is not how long you wait. It is whether waiting creates clarity or protects avoidance. This trap also hides inside what many call patience. But patience prepares. Fear postpones while pretending to prepare. You will soon see the difference. Sometimes waiting is wisdom. Sometimes waiting is fear, wearing sacred language. The difference is not always visible at first. Both can look quiet. Both can look patient. But one is preparing you to move, while the other keeps moving the finish line every time courage gets close. Sacred waiting has structure. You know what you are preparing for. You know what information is still missing. You know when you will review the decision again. Fear-based delay has no clear end. It collects courses, opinions, signs and plans, but it never allows the moment of choice to arrive. This is the moving finish line. You meet the first condition, then create another. You gain the skill, then decide you need more confidence. You save the money, then tell yourself the timing is wrong. The standard changes because the real goal was never readiness. The real goal was avoiding exposure. A woman once carried a business idea for years. She bought notebooks, joined programs, and kept improving the plan. Each new lesson gave her a brief sense of progress, but she still had nothing available for another person to receive. Her change began when she chose one small offer and gave it a real deadline. The first version was not perfect. It did not need to be. It gave her evidence that movement could teach what thinking could not. The lesson was simple. Preparation becomes avoidance when it never produces contact with reality. I have called caution wisdom in my own life. Sometimes I said I was waiting for clarity when I was really waiting to feel impossible levels of safety. That feeling never came. Clarity appeared after one measured action created new information. This does not mean you should leave your work, end a relationship, or risk what you cannot afford to lose. It means you can stop treating every next step like a permanent decision. Some actions are small, reversible, and honest. Those are the steps fear does not want you to notice. Use the 48-hour evidence test. Write down the decision you have delayed. Name the one fact you truly need before moving. Spend the next 48 hours finding that fact. If no essential information is missing, choose the smallest action that creates real feedback. Maybe you send one email. Maybe you book one conversation. Maybe you share one draft with one trusted person. The action must be measurable. It must move the decision into reality without demanding that you gamble your entire future. Picture a morning 6 months from now. You wake before the alarm. You do not reach for your phone to search for danger. You look at your day and know what matters. A decision that once consumed 3 days now takes a few clear minutes, because your mind is no longer negotiating with every possible disaster. You still think carefully. You still notice risk. But you do not abandon yourself to avoid uncertainty. That is the difference. If you are ready to stop changing the standard every time you get close, write, "I stop moving the finish line." Let it mark one honest decision. Action alone is not the whole answer. You can know the step and still feel unable to take it. That happens when one part of the mind wants to move, while another part keeps scanning for danger. The next section names that division. You can know exactly what to do and still feel divided. One part of you sees the opportunity. Another part studies every possible threat. One part begins the task. Another opens 5 new questions before the first step is complete. This is not always a lack of discipline. It can be a mind spending its energy in 2 directions. You notice it in ordinary moments. You open a page, then forget why you opened it. You have a strong idea in the shower, but it disappears when you sit down to work. You read the same paragraph several times. You know an answer inside, yet you do not trust it enough to act. You may tell yourself that you became lazy. You may fear that you are no longer intelligent, but shame does not explain the pattern. It only adds another demand to an already divided system. The hidden mechanism is fragmented attention. Part of your mind is solving the task. Another part is monitoring danger, rejection, failure, and the reactions of other people. When they operate at the same time, even simple choices can feel heavy. This is the divided receiver. The message may be clear, the opportunity may be real, but the receiver is trying to interpret the present while defending against the past. Insight enters, yet movement remains weak because your attention never gathers in one place long enough to become direction. Modern life can deepen this pattern. Alerts interrupt thought. Endless input replaces reflection. Pressure rewards fast reaction, while creativity often needs quiet connection. The conditions of access may be what changed. That reframe matters. You did not necessarily lose the mind you once had. You may have lost the conditions that allowed curiosity, imagination, and focus to work together. What feels like personal decline may partly be a life trained toward interruption. Give yourself 8 minutes of undivided receiving. Put the phone away. Sit somewhere safe. Use headphones only if they help block distraction. Do not consume new information. Do not repeat a required mantra. Do not force an answer. For 8 minutes, let your mind stop performing. When the time ends, write one sentence. The clearest next step is, then finish it without editing the first honest answer. It is practice in gathering your attention. Some of you have tried meditation, soundtracks, or many kinds of audio before. You may have felt little change. Not every audio uses the same design, and sound alone does not prove that a specific mechanism is present. Earlier, I asked you to hold a question about research. I told you that a discovery could explain why insight remains insight instead of becoming movement. I waited because a solution means little until you understand the shape of the problem it is meant to address. You now understand that shape. The alarm divides attention. The proof trap delays action. Constant input prevents your inner parts from settling into one clear direction. So why does knowing all of this still fail to create movement? Why can your spirit recognize an ending while your mind behaves as though nothing has changed? The answer is not another affirmation. It is connected to the condition of the receiver itself. The next part closes the loop, but it will not ask you to surrender your judgment. It will ask you to examine a tool, its claimed mechanism, and whether it belongs in your own path with clarity. You now know why the old pattern can remain after the circumstance ends. The alarm keeps predicting. The proof trap keeps delaying. Fragmented attention keeps insight from becoming direction. These are connected expressions of a receiver that has spent too long operating under pressure. The answer is not forced positivity. It is recognizing the alarm, testing present evidence, restoring clear attention, and acting from the person you are becoming. You are not required to live in emergency forever. You can hear an old signal without obeying it. You can honor what survival taught you, without allowing survival to design every future choice. The clarity you have received is real, but clarity alone is not movement. The old receiver helped you survive the old season. The question now is what may help you receive the new one. Do you remember the question I asked you to hold? Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize in 1981 for research involving the divided functions of the human brain. The product team calls coordinated hemisphere activity whole brain activation. A woman from California described years of prayer, journaling, and meditation. She understood the words, but could not feel them becoming real in daily life. After using the sequence, she reported feeling clearer and more connected. That was her personal experience. A man from Texas described another struggle. He spent years holding things together for others while his own attention became scattered. After using the resource, he reported greater clarity in decisions and work. A team led by Dr. Daniel Barone created an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. The routine is simple. Put on headphones, close your eyes, relax, listen once each day. They call it the Genius Switch. The Genius Switch is presented as using neural sync technology to support hemisphere synchronization and whole brain activation. It is a digital audio sequence delivered by email with lifetime access after purchase. It is not presented as a meditation app. It does not require a mantra, complicated ritual, or long daily practice. Missing one day does not mean failure. You simply return to the routine. It is also not positioned as an ordinary brainwave track. The product material separates it from binaural beats and common sound products. Its claimed difference is the targeted neural sync design. That is product information, not a medical guarantee. The Genius Switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one who has done inner work and no longer wants to treat mental fog as a character flaw. Read the details, examine the claims, decide without pressure. The original value was described by colleagues as high as $500. In-person neurofeedback can cost hundreds per hour, while home equipment can cost thousands. Those comparisons explain the price frame, not identical methods. The listed price is $49. The current offer described in the product file is $39. Pricing can change, so the official page should confirm what is available. The offer includes 4 bonuses. There is a guided visualization, a smart grocery shopping guide, a classic manifestation book, and a printable 5 habits infographic. The purchase includes lifetime access and a money-back guarantee according to the product information. Read the terms on the official page before deciding. The urgency is not that God will remove a blessing if you do not buy. That would not be truthful. The real cost of waiting is allowing divided attention to shape another week of decisions. The $39 price may change. Evaluate the resource without panic. Clear action is not pressured action. One warning matters. The product file states that the official sequence is not sold through Amazon, Spotify, or public audio channels. The link in the description and pinned comment should point to the official page. If this tool resonates with you, read everything there before deciding. Let discernment lead. A tool does not replace God. It does not replace sleep, medical care, discipline, prayer, or responsible action. It cannot surrender for you. It can only support the condition in which clarity is received. The deeper question remains: who are you when survival is no longer your assignment? That is where we return now. The deeper question remains: who are you when survival is no longer your assignment? Struggle gave each day a clear purpose. Someone needed saving. Something needed fixing. Then peace arrives, and you feel strangely empty. You create problems where none exist. You become restless when nobody needs you. You pull back when an opportunity could make you visible. You reduce your dream before anyone else can reject it. You may not fear failure as much as you fear becoming unfamiliar to yourself. Survival became a role. It taught you that being needed meant being worthy, and being exhausted meant you had given enough. This is the survival identity exit. It begins when the struggle ends, but the identity built around struggle has nowhere to go. A part of you may keep the fire alive because the fire once made your position clear. The nervous system often prefers what is familiar over what is free. Familiar suffering can feel more predictable than unfamiliar peace. Look back with compassion. Maybe you became the rescuer because no one rescued you. Maybe you became the strong one because weakness was not safe. Maybe you became useful because usefulness protected you from being abandoned. Those roles carried you through real moments. But a role that saved you can become a room that limits you. You were shaped in the fire. You are not required to keep the fire burning to prove you were shaped. Think of a seed. The shell protects what is forming. It keeps the life inside safe until the right moment. But when growth begins, the same shell must break. The seed does not betray the shell by opening. It completes the purpose the shell was created to serve. Your old identity deserves the same honor. Thank the survivor, thank the rescuer, thank the person who stayed alert and carried more than anyone knew. Then, release that version from the duty of leading every day that comes next. Write one sentence for yourself. Without the struggle, I am still the one who. Finish it with a quality, not a role. I am still the one who creates. I am still the one who loves. I am still the one who sees clearly. I am still the one who chooses with courage. Open your hand for a moment. Notice what you have been gripping. Name the role you no longer need to perform. Let your fingers soften. Let your hand rest. The release does not erase your strength. It returns your strength to choice. You are not unworthy because you stayed too long. You are not disqualified because you missed opportunities. A new identity does not require a perfect past. It requires one honest decision in the present. For the chosen one who felt something stir when the mind was mentioned earlier, the resource described before remains in the description and pinned comment. Read the details with discernment. That door is available, but the deeper work still belongs to your choices. There is one final act that makes an ending real. You must choose what will replace the identity the ending removed. You cannot only stop surviving, you must begin becoming. You cannot only stop surviving, you must begin becoming. Now, use the 4-part completion seal. The first step is recognize. Name the reaction before it becomes a decision. I am predicting rejection because silence once meant danger. I am delaying because visibility once brought pain. The second step is separate. Divide a page into now and then. Under now, write what is objectively true today. Under then, write the event your body is remembering. The third step is restore. Give yourself 8 minutes without new input. No phone, no problem solving. No demand for a perfect answer. The counterintuitive part is this. Do not spend those 8 minutes trying to fix the problem. Let attention gather before asking it to perform. When the time ends, write one sentence. The clearest next step is, complete it before fear edits the answer. The fourth step is respond. Take one action within 24 hours. Keep it small, measurable, and honest. Let movement give your system new evidence. Track the practice for 7 days. Count how many times you notice the alarm before reacting. Count how many decisions you make without searching for unnecessary guarantees. Now imagine a morning 6 months from today. You wake before the alarm and notice the room is quiet. Your first movement is not toward the phone. Your shoulders are soft, and your mind is not searching for a threat before the day has even begun. In the past, you would prepare 10 different defenses. This time, you know what is true. You speak clearly. You listen carefully. You do not abandon yourself, and you do not punish the other person for what someone else once did. An opportunity arrives later that day. You notice risk, but risk no longer becomes prophecy. You make a measured decision and return to your work. It is a life where challenge no longer owns your identity. Clarity becomes normal. Peace becomes usable. Action becomes possible. If it is safe, close your eyes. Place one hand over your chest or your stomach. Simply notice the support beneath your body. Picture a hallway behind you. Each door holds a moment when you had to react, explain, wait, hide, or become smaller. You do not need to open those doors again. The lessons are already with you. Ahead is a quiet room filled with gentle light. There is no alarm inside. Walk toward that room in your mind and let the door behind you close without anger. You are not running from the past. You are acknowledging that the past has completed its instruction. The closed door is not punishment. It is a boundary. Breathe in and say, the lesson remains. Breathe out and say, the cycle does not. Feel your feet on the floor. Let your body receive the weight of the present moment. When you open your eyes, ask one question. What would the free version of me do next? Ask only what that person would do next. If these words belong to your decision, write the lesson remains, the cycle does not. Let the sentence become a seal over what you have understood. This message began with, congratulations. You are now ready to understand what you are being congratulated for. Chosen one, congratulations. You are not being congratulated because every challenge has disappeared. You are being congratulated because you can finally see how an old circumstance continued living through a new reaction. What is seen clearly can no longer rule from the shadows. You named the alarm. You recognized the demand for impossible proof. You saw the divided receiver. You met the identity that believed suffering was the price of purpose. Those parts were not enemies. They were protectors, working from old instructions. Today, they receive new instructions. The danger is not here. The lesson has been learned. The future does not need to repeat the past to prove that you understood it. The past no longer holds you through a present event. It can only hold you through a reaction repeated without examination. You now know how to notice that reaction, test the evidence, restore attention, and choose from the person you are becoming. You may face another hard day. You may meet disappointment again, but you will not enter it with the same blindness. You will not call self-abandonment love. You will not call paralysis patience. You will not call an echo destiny. You will not silence yourself to keep false peace. You will not test safe people for crimes they did not commit. You will not reject every open door because one door once closed without warning. This is what it means to say you will never go through that again. The event may have a different form, but you will not meet it as the same person. You carry sight now. You carry language. You carry choice. I am not the alarm that once protected me. I am not the delay that once kept me hidden. I am not the fog that made me question the gifts I was born carrying. I honor the version of me that survived. I release that version from the responsibility of leading every day that comes next. I can recognize danger without expecting it. I can receive love without testing it. I can enter opportunity without searching for punishment. I can rest without believing. Rest must be earned through exhaustion. I can make a clear decision without asking the past for permission. The lesson remains. The wisdom remains. The discernment remains. But the cycle does not. I am not returning to the place where pain was my identity. I am not rebuilding what grace has already helped me leave. I am not required to keep fighting a war that has ended. I am ready to live as the person who received the news. It is done. I am free to begin. If this is your decision, write, it is done, and I am ready to begin. Let those words become your signature beneath this moment. Not a promise that life will always be easy. A declaration that the past no longer gets to interpret every future door. Let the door behind you remain closed. Feel your feet facing forward. You do not need to run. You do not need to prove anything tonight. Take the next honest step when it appears, and let peace become the place from which you move. Chosen one, the war taught you how strong you are. Peace will now teach you who you were always meant to be.